boss, I really liked Horizon, like, just hunting through, like, a field, and then turning the corner and taking down a giant T-Rex. And I hope that fighting gods in this game are just as fun as it is to fight, I don't know, an elk.
Yeah.
Like that one.
Yeah, I feel like it still has some trick up its sleeve. My biggest hope is that this is one continuous story in real time.
Yeah.
Like, if it goes from start to finish, like, you start the game and there are no cuts, there's no fast travel, there's no, like, Uncharted 4 didn't really have any loading screens, and you'd kind of get a chunk of the way in that game and go, oh wait, I haven't seen a single loading screen, and that was cool, but you were still having, like, sort of, you know, be like, oh, 8 goes to bed, end of the scene, you know?
8 turns 16.
Right, yeah, it jumped around a bit, but, like, for something like this to be like, you walk out the door to go hunting with your kid, and then you go on this crazy epic fairy tale adventure, that could be insane.
Yeah. You mentioned the combat. The first 3 games, or even the 4th, I guess, they're all combat. Like, that's all it was. And it seems like they're maybe taking a little step back, allowing a little more breathing room for other game mechanics, crafting, and RPG elements.
And dialogue and narrative. I mean, I think that's the cool thing here is that there's a very personal story between these two characters that we're going to learn about. And if they kill one of them, I'm going to cry. I'm really going to cry.
It's definitely a big change, though. I mean, God of War has inspired other games having a really fast hack-and-slash-combat, and a lot of it's really challenging as well, which is super appealing. So I wonder if distancing itself from that too much would hurt fans of the franchise.
Yeah. Well, another title we're hoping to get a closer look at is Insomniac's Spider-Man game. This is actually one of the most anticipated games with the IGN audience. People can't wait for this game.
Same.
Yeah?
Yeah, so excited, guys.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I played through Insomniac's last game, Ratchet & Clank, and the whole time I was thinking, like, I kind of wish this was a Rocket Raccoon game.
Yeah.
And for then I was just like, we haven't gotten a really good Marvel game in so long. It's just about, you know, a superhero, and Spider-Man's perfect for this. He's mechanically awesome, you know, he's effectively, you know, hardcore bionic commando. We've had some great Spider-Man games in the past, and to see a wonderful studio with, like, a, you know, history of fantastic games under the belt tackle something so beloved is wonderful. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, we talked earlier about, you know, open world games, how there's so many of them and how they can differentiate themselves from each other. The sort of movement and fluidity and verticality of Spider-Man as a character, coupled with just how gorgeous this has potential to be, I think could create an open world game that's different than anything we've ever played before. Like, this looks, you know,
looks so good.
It just looks nuts. Yeah. That's all I can say.
Think about upgrades. A win here is going to give us a good payout.
How fast this moves. And I mean, it's cool to see New Donk City again.
Yeah. If it's anything like Sunset Overdrive, which means it's going to be made by you, that Xbox exclusive, it'll be really fast. One of my favorite things about that game is that you can go around the entire city without getting touched different. Yeah, I want to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Also worth noting is bright, colorful, Spider-Man, so we're probably going to put one-liners.
Left 5, left 3, and press right 3 into left 2.
Also very brooding and dark and angry, and nice to have a change of pace.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to see what
Into left 2, left 3, narrow, into right 4,
Spider-Man games had, like, gang kind of
80, turn dead.
taking down gangs. It was very strange. They did a lot of really creative stuff. It was a ton of fun.
Quick experiment. How many Spider-Man villains can Brian name? Go.
Venom, Carnage, Black Cat.
Left 5, don't cut. Left 5, don't cut. Left 4, Titans, don't cut. And right 3,
I would love to see Venom.
and left 4, don't cut. 60, right 3, 60, don't cut.
I think next year.
Yeah, I want to see next year.
Even though it's a new Spider-Man movie this year.
It would make a ton of money.
Right 3, 60, don't cut. Right 2, don't cut.
Amazing.
Right 2, don't cut. Right 2, don't cut. Right 2, don't cut.
Current Monty going on with the games that they have in the works. There's, you know, there's God of War, there's Days Gone, and there's Spider-Man. We all know everything they announced last year, basically. When's it coming out? Something has to come out this year. They have to put something out. I hope.
Left 3, don't cut.
All last year, they sold it.
And press right 3
Maybe, you know, movies in the summer, maybe they're doing this.
into left 2. Care, right 2
Alright, we've got to take a quick
to
break.
left 3. Press
For Sony, as well as Bethesda and Red Dead Redemption 2 on IGN Live.
and right 4. Dip. Dip. Bump. 100 through dip. And press jump baby. 80. Left 2, 60. Left 3. Dip. Bump. Through dip and press jump baby 80 dip 100 through dip, press, jump baby, dip, left 3, narrow, into right 4, opens long, 80 through dip, left 5, don't cut. Left 5, don't cut. Left 5, don't cut. Right 5, don't cut. 80 through dip.
Welcome back.
Tightens. Into right 3.
Pre-show on the way. We'll take you to the event as soon as it starts. Now, before the break, we were talking about what else we expect to see this week, specifically.
100 through dip.
Sony is aligned with SA2 for marketing purposes.
And press, jump baby. 80, right 3. But left 2 long, open.
Close after
And turn, open, hairpin right, 100.
Excited to see what they show us. Yeah, I hope that we get some more looks into
Left 6, keep right over press.
That's something that I'm really excited about, and I always said with Destiny 1, I wish the whole game were like the raids. It seems like they're adding
Left
the
6,
things that
keep
people
right
love.
over
It's
press.
vanilla Destiny, which, you know, the Taken King kind of helped to flesh out, being a whole story and stuff, you know, whole reward.
Right 2, press 80.
Actually, don't know what
Keep left over press, 80. Keep right over press, 80.
We just had this big reveal on all this new information for this game.
Caution, press, left 2. 60 through dip.
Happens right before, then there's stuff that happens right after release and everything.
Keep left over
I think
press.
Sony would be very wise to
Right 6.
align themselves as much as possible with this game. It's going to sell a lot. And
Left
they need to
3.
tell people
And
this is
press,
where you
right
go.
3.
I think
Into
that
left
obviously
2.
with the big reveal that Bungie had for Destiny 2, it makes
Left
that's
3, narrow.
pretty good point. That's the point.
Into right 4, opens long.
Destiny 2, I think Sony's conference is a chance to be like, hey,
80 through dip.
course Destiny,
Left
jump on if
5.
you're
60.
casual or a newcomer to the series. Might also make sense to reveal some
Middle over
or
press.
something, you know, yeah. I know there's
To
some
finish.
Content that you get if you pre-order on PS4. They don't want to reveal exactly what that is.
Okay, take it to the control.
What do you think they need to do to promote the original to address the concerns that people have with the first game?
I think one of the things that I felt was lacking was that I felt like even though there were a lot of other players, that we didn't really exist in the same space. All
Okay,
the other
we're gonna
players
need
that
to make
were
up
around
some
me, at
places
least
on the
this
next
vanilla
stage.
Destiny, I know the Taken King did make a lot of changes, but I felt like I was so alone in that world. And one thing that I really want, which I think they are looking into, is kind of having a squad, like having people with you who are AI players but have banter and crosstalk and make you feel like you're sort of part of a team. And I think that would be a really exciting way to just celebrate character and whole life. I also want to see dramatically varied environments. I want to see totally different places and things that I would never expect.
Yeah, I'm
All
with
right,
you on
let's
that.
go.
I want, a bunch of weird Star Wars looking planets. That's it. Just cool places to go visit that are different than anywhere else. Video games are escapism, so let's escape.
Well, on the opposite end of the spectrum, will Red Dead Redemption 2 be making an appearance despite it being delayed to 2018? I think the delay is
Left 5, left 3, and press, right 3, into left 2. Left 3, narrow.
Our industry is full of
Into right
surprises, so
4, opens
I
long.
wouldn't be completely amazed to see something like, oh, and we've got
80
one more
through dip.
thing, exclusive
Left
stuff on
5,
PS4.
don't cut.
What it looks like. But yeah, that would be a big showing.
Left 4 tightens,
It's
don't
gonna
cut.
be the best selling game of
And
next
right
year,
3.
hands down. You can name another one, go for it. But I have a feeling
And left 4,
you're wrong.
don't cut. 60, right 3, 60, don't cut.
There were rumors that when Shadow of
Right 2, don't cut.
played, that it was so that it could actually exist.
Left 3, don't cut.
Right.
Because that's a good way to get triple, basically.
Oh, yeah. I think that delay made a lot of people breathe a sigh of relief, including us as gamers, and sort of said, well, 2017 is a little more open for us. There won't be a 100-hour open world cowboy game at the end of it. But if you're a publisher putting out a game this fall, you're probably like,
Yeah.
yeah. So going back to will we see it or not, I think we'll see something related to Red Dead. There'll be a mention of it. You know, somebody will allude to it being there's something better on PS4. I mean, they've aligned themselves with Sony. We saw with the reveal of I think it was GTA 5 when it came to current gen consoles. They were like, we've added better headlights and cats and first person. And you're like, what? Okay, great. And they showed this cool sizzle reel on the Sony stage. Imagine maybe something akin to that, but
It's so hard to say. You know, we've seen really small chunks of Kingdom Hearts 3.
It seems like with Final Fantasy 15 that paid off. You know, people waited and waited and waited, and they were delivering a product that they loved and sold well.
or they don't have it soon. It's just kind of stringing people along at this point. I mean, if they don't show anything, then it's just disappointing. So
Disney is having Star Wars characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. Would that get you really excited?
Excited is, I would say curious. I want to see Darth Maul fight Winnie the Pooh because I'm weird, and I can head on over to DeviantArt for that.
I think Winnie the Pooh can be turned to the dark side.
Yeah, I can see that.
I feel just a little bit weird about it. You know, it's like it's not like that. It's not canon. It's more just like when somebody mixes up like Playmobil and Lego. It's just like it's.
I personally am totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Throw all the marbles into Kingdom Hearts 3.
Go for it.
Mix it all up.
Yep.
Well, Square Enix also recently announced that development on the Final Fantasy VII Remake is being brought in-house, and the game is still years away. Does that mean it is a no-show this year?
We have to see something. It had this big E3 debut, 2 years ago? When we heard about it? We know it's episodic, so they can at least show us part of it. The weird thing about this game is it's years away, but that doesn't even mean that the entire thing will be released years.
Episodic.
Yeah.
Right.
So years from now, we might get the first piece of it. So we might be playing this game for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I kind of wondered if they decided against making it episodic. It's unlikely at this stage, but I mean, with the way that Hitman came out, I really liked Hitman.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was released episodic meant that a lot of people didn't play it because it didn't have that initial hype. They were like, oh, I'll wait until all the episodes are out, and then they just didn't end up playing it. So maybe they're rethinking that, and that's why they brought it in-house and are changing things.
Maybe, but then they also kind of tried to sell off Hitman.
Exactly,
So,
that's true. Even though
How
people
does
did like the
how does
episodic
Seven
format.
work episodic?
I don't know. I mean, that's the big question. There was a massive sort of backlash against that announcement when it first happened because I think that's not what people want from an RPG. And the question of like, how does your character level and carry over and decisions you make, and it gets messy.
Yeah, I sort of hope that if they are going to do it episodically, they do it in kind of the James Cameron Avatar approach, where it might take a minute to get there, but once they have it kind of lined up, it's not like we finished episode 1. Now let's get started on 2. It's like we've got episode 1 finished, we've got episode 2 60%.
The Avatar movies are like a decade apart, Max.
Yeah, because they 1 and 2, sure. Anyway, we can't talk about Avatar right now. Final Fantasy 7.
One game we know for sure is going to be at E3 is Call of Duty World War II. Another game that's aligned with Sony for marketing purposes. Yep.
This is a very different take on Call of Duty as well, because it seems to be more about vulnerability than anything else. That's a lot of the marketing that we've seen is a young guy who's going to war for the first time. And I already kind of feel invested in that story.
Me too.
I really hope they do it well.
I'm sort of over the Call of Duty era of like neo-futuristic super soldiers who are infallible and can run on walls, and to get back to something a lot more human, I think, is something I can immediately identify with. I want to feel emotion playing a Call of Duty game, and not just hear slurs in my ear and throw the controller down.
It's definitely a return to well, I mean, they're not in the future anymore.
Right.
People kept complaining about that, so they definitely changed it up. And a lot of people said that they might be copying Battlefield 1. I think that's incredibly unlikely. This game has to have been in development for quite a few years now.
Well, both those games were copying actual history, so
Good point.
yeah.
You're surprised by how much you liked Battlefield 1, right?
Yeah, I think because there's like a lot of very strange sort of just inventions that went nowhere in that. Like you have like a fake paper mache head you use to distract snipers and you chase after pigeons. World War II doesn't have quite as much silliness as that. I'm curious to see what Call of Duty does with this, just because they are a very iterative franchise. They kind of take baby steps in terms of adding features, and
Our notes picked up a few sections to be aware of, so stay sharp.
Jumping into the future, and the last one effectively had you flying X-wings and hanging out with robots. How do you jerk the wheel so hard from the distant future to World War II?
I think they've got that speed in these zombies crazy if they want to bring in
Left 6, press right 5, don't cut, left 6, left 6, right 4, left 3, keep middle over crest, right 4, over bump, don't cut, into left 2, keep right over crest, into left 3, don't cut, into right 4,
People are always sort of like snarky about it. They think like they say that.
into left 6, don't cut, 60, left 6, dip,
I haven't seen anyone just
left 4,
see a lot of people being sort of cautiously optimistic.